Riven. And final ban for Millenium was Dr. Mundo. Now on the other side for SK Gaming, Shyvana is of course left open. Freddy plays a lot of Shyvana, insta-lock-in almost.
Now we have had Lee Sin being first pick actually the last 2 games, but Shyvana coming in now. Freddy, he is really strong on the tanks. We talk about Wicked and his meta. Freddy is the same. He plays the same champion as Wicked and the same style. So Shyvana for him is going to be very good for him, and he's going to have a great impact on the game. Against Renekton, we see the matchup again and again.
And yeah, Renekton coming in there. Renekton Shyvana. It's a very old story behind now in this one. Annie as well coming in. We heard Alex Sitch saying Annie is top 1 pick right now in the support role, and Millenium obviously think the same about this one. Jree going to get his hands on him. Now I was wondering about Lee Sin. We know Svenskeren as an incredible Lee Sin player, obviously with having that Elise, the Evelyn, even the Mundo you could argue taken away from him there means that he doesn't get to play that. And Lee Sin, well, as I said, he's an incredible Lee Sin player. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I mean, he can do so much on the map with it. We saw Diamond in the last game, how much pressure he had early game. Svenskeren will be able to have the same. I like this pickup though of the owner for nRated. And Millenium getting Annie, I don't think SK was too worried about that because they knew with the way the plans went that Leona would be open then for nRated.
Well, we remember the Leona all the way back from Against All Authority days, the Corki Leona lane actually, yes. That it was Yellow Star and nRated running all the way back then, and he's going to be bringing that one in on his debut again, back in the LCS. Hopefully for him at least, a good day for it as well. We'll see what Millenium have to say about that one though. On the other side, Vi, Araneae, Vi, they've become almost synonymous with each other. He's played so much Vi over the last half year. Yeah, Vi right now is, again, we have talked about it before also, such a strong overall jungler because you have impact through the entire game. Once you hit the level 6, I mean your ganks before level 6 are decent, but once you hit level 6 you have these really strong ganks, you can lock down a target. And all the way through the game you're actually going to have impact, especially because you can do the engages. And Araneae, he's one of the shot callers on Millenium, and he loves to make the engages, he loves to open up the situation. Together with an Annie on Jree, I expect to see some very good engages from Millenium. So he's actually going to be Creaton on Ezreal. Funnily enough, we kind of touched on this one earlier on, that Creaton actually played a lot of Ezreal. Ezreal had his changes, and most people stopped playing the Ezreal, actually, in favor of your Lucian, your Jinx, a bit of Caitlyn in there, but what do you think about Ezreal at this point? I mean, Creaton's obviously very comfortable there. Ezreal is a pick right now that you don't consider one of the strongest, but he's still up there among them. I mean, with Ezreal you can do so many different things. There's so many ways you can build him. If you in lane, if you should fall behind, you will always be able to farm with the fact that you can just Q against the minions. So Ezreal right now, it's such an open pick, and you never know what he's gonna build. Even the old blue build, which Creaton used to love and cared a lot of games with in last season, is actually still viable if you get ahead early game. Well, we'll see if that works out for them. On the other side, it looks like we're going to be seeing the first, almost talked a little bit too early on that one. Lucian for Candy Panda here. It was hovering over that Sivir for a while, which is obviously so incredibly popular. If you look towards Korea, for example, see it like 98% of games, I think is a statistic on that one. We've rarely really seen it hit in Europe, and not going to see it this time either. That's going to obviously be Lucian, and the Ziggs was the final pickup there for Jesiz. Now, Ziggs is one of Jez's main champions. It's a champion he feels very comfortable on, and I know this is one thing that SK really wanted. Same goes for actually nRated and the owner. They've gotten these, let's say, fairly new players on the team, and also new to this season of LCS, who wants to prove themselves on some of their old main champions. I feel this is very strong for SK, and it's going to get some of the nerves away from them. And with the Ziggs versus a LeBlanc though, he has to go for an earlier Fiends to survive the LeBlanc burst. I expect Kerp though to really feel comfortable right now, and he wants to pick up some kills on Jesiz. And it's funny because I never thought I'd be saying this about a person that plays with a trackball mouse, but Kerp mechanically is absolutely top-notch. I don't even know how you can do it so fast with the trackball. Like, LeBlanc, you need to be really fast on the buttons. You have so many different combos you can do with your ultimate, and just seeing the guy doing it on a trackball, it's amazing. Well, let's see who the fans think are going to come out victorious in our final match of the day. The votes are in, and actually SK leading with a 53% over the 47% of Millenium. That's pretty much as close as we're going to get. Pretty much, but I'm a bit surprised though that people opt to go for SK over Millenium. Millenium was in last LCS. Yeah. They fell off in the end, but they started out so strong, and I expect Millenium to come out now and maybe keep up the power that they had from the start of last split. well, that's something to aim for. They've obviously set their sights pretty high, to be honest, after what happened to them and what they achieved at the start of that summer split. And while I say the start, they were in first place all the way until week 7. A brilliant start that they had. We'll see about it this time, though, around as we get into game for SK Gaming versus Millenium. A brand new roster here for SK Gaming. The changes have come in for Millenium as well, with Kevin moving into that top lane and Kerp then being transferred to the middle. We'll see how they go here in their first matchup of the 2014 season.
A lot of pings coming down. It looks like Millenium just wants to scout. They're pinging 5 different places, every entrance to their jungle, which is the standard places to scout. If you just keep it like that at 130, you put down the ward, and that's it, you go back to your lanes. But I really expect SK to have something planned for this level 1.
Well, maybe that plan is to not do anything, which would almost surprise us. We always knew that nRated loved to craft these ideas of where you go and at what time and where the wards go at level 1. But right now, with 5 wards on the other side for free coming down, that may have changed somewhat. We'll see about that one. Q actually from Svenskeren just landing onto Araneae, so they've at least got vision of one man in the early stages of the game in that top side of the map. Actually, Kevin is waiting in the tri-bush as well, and looking at positions, Candy Panda on the top side of the map. We'll see if he actually goes back. No, it's Shyvana that's recalling, so it looks like we're going to see a 2v1.
Yeah, SK wants the 2v1. I don't think he has actually spotted Renekton yet, but they do want to decide on the 2v1. I'm not too sure why, but at least now he knows. He just spotted Kevin. SK Gaming, they don't feel comfortable going 2v2 versus the Annie and Ezreal. Instead, Vi and Renekton is a very hard combo to deal with, though, in a 2v2. If Vi decides to come up, they can actually pick up a kill.
We'll see. This is another hard one to call with the changes that SK have gone through, with Millenium looking great at Battle of the Atlantic with this new lineup that they've got, albeit only 1-man difference, really. Obviously, that change of position from Kerp as well. That's going to be all crafted here in the next 30 minutes or so. Araneae there just getting a bit of a start on the red buff from Kevin, and that will be going down for him first. Lee Sin on the other side, Svenskeren starting his red buff as well.
Svenskeren started his red buff, which means he can now move towards the top lane, hit level 3 once he do his blue buff, and potentially try and dive on Kevin. But Renekton is very hard to dive. He's not actually even in the lane right now. If SK spots this, or at least they have an idea that Kevin won't return to lane for the next, say, 20-30 seconds, they can actually fast shove the lane and make Kevin lose a lot of CS on the tower because they early pushed it in.
That is taking away those wraiths there. And finally we see Freddy get himself down onto that bottom lane. And, well, there's no one that's going to zone you out probably harder than an Annie with that stun rings swirling around and just meaning imminent death if you get a little bit too close to her. And that's just going to keep Freddy completely out of the action in these early stages.
Now, Kevin is a long way away from the top lane, but with the wave coming in now, unless SK is really hard pushes, as we talked about just before, then Kevin is going to get up there and get all the XP he needs. He already got some XP by going together with Araneae in the jungle. He is still level 1 though. He's going to hit level 2 from the first few minions dying, meaning once he's level 2, it's going to be a bit more of a risky dive for Svenskeren.
Yeah, he's level 3 though with double buffs on him, and we see that those minions going down to the turret, and this is very wise play from Kevin there, sniffing out that danger. He's got the ward in there, so not really sniffing out. He was more using his eyes than anything else. Seeing that Svenskeren had come up and deciding, you know what, I can't stick around for this one. I'm going to have to back away. That turret is going to take a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Freddy's also been harassed by Araneae down on the bottom side.
It's a smart move Kevin put down, so he spotted Svenskeren coming in, and he didn't risk getting dived. At the same time, Freddy knew with Kevin backing off in top lane, Araneae must have been bot lane. So he just instantly backed out as well. He didn't spot Araneae, but he just backed out instantly, and they're just going to try and trade tower for tower.
First turret of the game is going to be going the way of SK Gaming here as they take that outer top lane. The bottom lane is in a similar position though with Araneae there as well, although they're going to lose out the minions here, which means that push is slightly slowed down somewhat. But the push continues actually in the top lane. 3 men pushing up there. Araneae is actually going to leave, and now Freddy comes across, and they may just be able to hold on to that tower, you know.
Yeah, and Kevin is still level 1 top lane, meaning him and Araneae can fight this. Kerp move up now and try to defend the tower. Might even try and go for a kill when Kevin hits level 2, which he did right there. SK wisely enough just backs out. They got what they need. They shoved their lane out. They're going to reset the whole lane now. Exactly what they needed.
Oh, Araneae though walking through. Oh, puts a ward down, but actually will get hit with the kill, but Svenskeren not going to be able to control him enough there to think about picking up a kill. Might have been different if the Zenith blade have actually landed.
I think SK Gaming though should have recalled faster top and actually tried to return to the bot lane before the tower went down. Freddy so far has been able to hold the tower, and Jree and Creaton doesn't seem to be pushing it in, meaning actually SK is going to come back and they can defend this tower, and a huge win for SK early game.
Yeah, I was going to say that not only has he held the tower, but the lane is at halfway point there, which means that Panda and nRated, who are already at the steps of the base, should be back just in the nick of time to stop that turret actually going down, as all as Araneae spotted by Jesiz, who just actually face-checked the brush to put the ward just through it, which could be a little bit funky if you're unlucky on that one. But he uses his satchel charge to jump away anyway, not really feeling too much pressure from that. Finally, Millenium pushed around onto the turret just as Panda and nRated arrive.
Yeah. The recall from Araneae bot lane, which meant that he couldn't pick up the bot tower together with Creaton and Jree, meant right now that SK has pretty much just getting a tower for free. Kerp could have held the top tower together with Kevin before, so Araneae didn't have to recall for it. At the same time now, Freddy's going to return to top lane. There's going to be a very slow pushing wave coming to him, which means that Kevin is going to be hitting XP, but once the wave actually hits the tower, Freddy will be able to pick it up.
Yeah, 28-8 up in that top lane as Kevin does get himself that ward down. We'll see what Kevin does here, just trying to hold that lane in position for as long as possible. Freddy's still level 3, or level 4 already there on Kevin, and he's not too far away from hitting level 5 here as well. We'll get it with the next minion as well.
Now, next move on the map is not exactly going for towers unless Millenium wants to try and force the bot tower. What Araneae can do at this point is go towards the top lane, and once the big wave hits the tower, he can try and dive or at least force Freddy away from the tower, making Freddy lose a lot of XP. It doesn't look like he's going there though, because he has to move now. Svenskeren is actually also nearby if it should happen.
Just seeing the recall there from LeBlanc in the mid lane. Svenskeren just off to the side of his jungle as well will be coming up to help out Freddy, who will be thanking this wave for giving him a bit of gold and a couple of levels from it as well. But Kevin basically blocking all those and saying, if you're going to get to them, you're going to have to come through me. Yeah,
Kevin has gotten quite a lead now. Freddy will get level 5 though from this minion wave, or should at least be very close. So if we put our attention on the bot lane instead, Creaton so far is slightly ahead of Panda, but it's not too much of a difference right now. And once we hit level 6, it's going to be very easy to see if the team's actually up to go for a fight. I do feel though the Israel and Annie combo is a bit stronger at level 6 than Lucian Leona.
Oh, we're going to see very, very shortly on that one who's going to go in. Actually, it says any play Creaton. Oh, I'm going to arcane shift at the exact right time for that one. Still no level 6 hit, which Jree, he's probably just begging to come down. He's at halfway through level 5 right now, so Tibber's not really imminent for him, which means they're going to have to stall out things a little bit longer to hit that magic point.
Smart play by Jree here. He didn't use his stun, even though nRated engaged on him. He saved it in case Panda wanted to go in for the fight. Had Panda gone too close, he would have been stunned by Annie and taken a lot of damage. So smart play by Jree. He's playing very, very... I'm just going to say, he's playing very good right now.
Very, very strong. Jesiz, who we talked about in the early game, had a rough start to his game in promotion. Losing those first 2, of course, but the 3 afterwards were pretty amazing stuff by SK as a whole. And they'll be hoping to replicate one of those final games, that's for sure, rather than one of the first 2 in their promotion matches. Right now, this mid lane being very, very quiet, to be honest with you. Kerp and Jesiz in that one. Araneae has just actually come through the wall. Right on top of a ward though, and we can see that bottom lane of nRated and Panda backed away. Svenskeren actually coming around to try and counter this one as well, and they have the advantage in terms of position, but look at Jree, he's hit level 6 now.
Now they want to force this dragon, because Jree is level 6, Creaton is level 6, but the bot lane of EpicSkillshot Gaming is not level 6, giving the advantage right now to Millenium. Araneae is tanking the dragon though, is taking quite a lot of damage from it.
Oh, and there is Tibbers going down on towards Svenskeren, and he takes a lot of damage from the True Shot Barrage. Araneae picks up Dragon. He's actually going to be able to walk away from that one. And funnily enough, in the end, no one going down. As we said, Svenskeren very low, but
great call by Millenium right here. They knew they had the level advantage bot lane, decided to simply be just going to go for this one. Though, a rule of thumb though, a very smart ward by SK having it in the small river bush bot lane. If you're against a jungler who can actually jump over a wall, you always want to keep that warded.
Oh, Tibbers now down for quite a while. Gives a bit more safety to Candy Panda and nRated in the bot lane, who now have that level 6 upon them. Who knows, could maybe go for something of their own right now. Kerp, we can see, is wandering up towards his top lane. Freddy almost at full health though. Be interested to see if they can burst him down at this point. I mean, that is a level 8 Kerp after all.
It's a very smart move by Svenskeren to come up here. Can he actually stop this one?
Well, they're going to go for it at least, and there is the damage, and it was more than I actually expected to come in as Kevin gets kicked back towards the turret, but he's lost the turret aggro, and Kerp now is going to wait for the cooldowns to come in and put as much damage onto him as he can. The blue buff actually on him there, and Svenskeren using the dodges brilliantly to survive. Kerp not quite able to get the tether down. The clone will die, and they'll be happy with the kill at least.
Svenskeren tried to flash kick Kevin into the tower. Sadly for him, Kevin had already gone out of aggro range and wasn't tanking the turret anymore. But very nice dive by Millenium. We talked a little bit about it before. When the wave would hit the tower, if they moved up there, they could actually try and dive Freddy and make him even go further behind. Right now, Kevin is looking very strong.
Yeah, and speaking of strong, Jesiz here. Zone power of Ziggs being shown perfectly there. Araneae can't get anywhere near the minions, and Jesiz is able to wipe them out thanks to his bomb and that satchel charge as well. Meanwhile, SK coming back into the bottom lane. Candy Panda got 2 out of 3 parts of that Trinity Force. On the other side, bit of a mixed bag for Creaton.
Yeah, Creaton obviously always engaged.
Yeah, this is bad for Candy Panda. You're taking a lot of damage. Actually, will use his flash, and nRated looking too tanky really to be followed through with, and not quite the amount of damage I think that Millenium thought they had there to finish that one off, but that might change. Nope, Kerp decides to not come down to bottom.
They forced both summoners on Candy Panda though, so it is a win for Millenium. They can even actually try to take down this turret, which they will. Great roam also by Kerp, showing himself a little bit, making SK even scared to stay. Free tower from Millenium right now bot lane, and they've got both summoners down.
Oh, Jesiz getting pushed onto here. Will the leash? The leash went down onto him there, but we already saw Kerp backing away from things, and they didn't take this tower, funnily enough. SK lost a lot of minions to it, but that tower's still alive.
SK lost a lot of minions, but Millenium could definitely have picked up this tower. They had no reason to back, except Jree actually went into ward very deep instead of taking down the tower. So they must have thought it, for them, they rather had more deep wards in SK's jungle than actually taking down the tower at this point.
Oh, where's the next bit of action going to come into this one? Araneae is on the top side, currently doing the golems. If you look at his farm, he's actually a decent chunk behind that of Svenskeren. Neither of them been massively involved into these lanes so far. They've certainly enjoyed their time of farming as well. Meanwhile, Kerp has moved to the bottom side. I think he's actually doing wraiths at this point, stealing them away from Jesiz. Taking every little bit of farm he can get. There is the ultimate coming out of nRated. The culling comes in, but Jree actually went aggressive. True shot barrage going to be dodged away from Candy Panda, but he won't get away from that. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we see a killer piece coming down as Araneae takes out Jesiz, and the kill is returned.
Great play once again by Jree. He gets engaged on, no panic, and then as soon as Candy Panda gets close to him, he flash stuns him, and they go for the kill. We talk a little bit about it. The Annie and Ezreal combo, such a strong one after level 6. They have so much damage, and because they forced the summoners from Candy Panda earlier with the tippers, they could pick up the kill now.
Oh, this top lane, we saw some low health bars and kills coming up there earlier on. And this turret, speaking of low health bars, Creaton's going to let the minions all fall. No, he's not. There we go. Finally dealt with. And Millenium pick up their first turret of the game. I have to feel it's been a few minutes too late for that one. Svenskeren now headed up towards that red buff, but actually goes flying past Araneae. Who's going to be the strongest of this one? Araneae going to get kicked back, but here is the look again at that mid fight.
Great gang coming from, actually Kerp gang. Araneae was in the lane. Kerp comes in from the side. Jesiz manages to pick up the kill though. 6 has a lot of damage.
A lot of damage. We saw that one bursting down to nothing from a full health bar. Does have that Athene's Unholy Grail in there now. DFG actually done for Kerp. That's going to help his assassination potential.
Kerp is definitely going to look for plays right now. He's been roaming a lot so far. We saw him go top lane. We saw him go a little bit towards bot at least to show himself. So I expect Kerp to actually keep roaming, but also expect Jesiz to then pick up the mid tower in response, and we'll see. If Kerp can manage to pick up some kills, it will be worth it for Millenium. If not, SK can actually win out on it.
So he started to fall behind on the CS, but I think we can expect that against the Ziggs in the middle lane. Overall, the gold, he's ahead there. 800 is pretty much the difference between them. We've also got Dragon coming up, well, we talk about goal difference in just 30 seconds of this one.
Now, Araneae uses sweeping lens. He spots out the ward that was actually there earlier as well when he tried to do the same move. This pretty much looked mirrored from what Millenium did earlier when they took the dragon. Araneae can ward now inside SK's jungle and put Millenium in a very good position, vision-wise, before the dragon fight.
That pink ward that was down, spotted early enough by Araneae, and he just walks on in and kills it off. Even going for Svenskeren, who misses that Q. Not really much damage exchange between them, but this is all about positioning here, as that dragon is going to be coming in soon. They're actually going on towards Svenskeren, and that was the DFG used there by Kerp. Thought if you could get a bit more follow-up, I think. Either way, he's taken Svenskeren down to about 3/4 health, and that's important, having the jungler that low with that dragon coming up, and that was close. Kerp just managing to get over the side there before things came through. Svenskeren going to get leashed in. Flash comes over. There is a true shot barrage. Dragon was actually taken here. Araneae once again, as per the first one, getting very, very low. And in the end, it's a 1-for-0. Svenskeren goes down. Dragon went to Millenium.
Great play earlier also from Kerp here. He went in, poked Svenskeren down so he couldn't really go in for the dragon steal, and then as soon as he came too close, he just went on him again. SK going for the mid tower though. Can they actually pick it up and try and get some gold back?
Oh, a lot of damage onto nRated. Using everything, and if that DFG would have been off cooldown, funnily enough, that would have been a kill for Kerp. Well, that's all ifs and buts at this stage. 4-1 are the kills, that's what we can be sure of at this point, and a 3,000 gold lead for last year's strong starters, Millenium.
And they're starting very strong again, and I especially like the vision they put up before Dragon even spawns to try and put out gives Kerp situations where he can jump on targets and burst them down and then jump back into the dragon pit or on the safe side. So I like really the wards from Millenium right now. It's very timely made and it's very smart play.
Well, we talked about Jree and the fact that if he gets ahead here, he can be doing a lot of work. Got that Trinity Force already in there. 2-0 in kills. He's a good 20 CS almost ahead of his opposite number, Panda, in this one as well. That's a position that you want to be in. Yeah,
very good position for Creaton. He managed to deny a lot of CS by actually not taking the tower. Thinking back about that, pretty smart move by Millenium. They didn't really necessarily want the tower. They knew they could pick it up whenever they wanted, but they just wanted to deny more and more CS from SK Gaming, and it worked.
Oh, there's a bomb coming down, and honestly not doing too much damage. Millenium almost out of the circle as that one came in, and looks like it's going to be Jree actually headed away. And look at Araneae, cheeky going in there, actually using his smite even. Actually, no, that's a light with Svenskaren's smite that came out just to make sure that he got that big wraith.
Araneae is feeling very comfortable. He keeps going in for the trades in the enemy jungle. He's not afraid at all. He knows he has backup. Jree was there this time, and if there had been a fight, Jree could, Creaton could actually have moved also from the mid lane.
A bit of a slow period now. We're almost 18 minutes into this game. Of course, Millenium having the dragon control at this point of the matchup and a 2,500 gold lead from that. And look at this, they're setting up by that mid lane. This is where Jesiz needs to be real careful, because if Araneae gets a sniff, he's going to ult in, and that means surely you're dead, Jesiz. There is the ultimate coming down. Kerp going to dive in there. There's the damage coming through, and Kerp picks up the kill.
Great move by Millenium. Araneae actually uses his sweeping lens to make sure there's no ward in the bush. As soon as he sees there's no ward, he just goes full on Jesiz. And even with flash, he's still dead. Double jump from Kerp, and also Jree was there in case it was needed.
Really nice play. And that's what Millenium will be happy to do here, get some picks from them. Actually, they're going to kick Jree back into the rest of the team. The Cologne coming out. Svenskeren body blocking. Actually, he's on his own team, so that doesn't make any sense. But coming over to shield him anyway. Jree had used the shield of his own. Kerp was trying to get in there. And in the end, a lot thrown for not really a lot in return as Araneae comes in. There is the stun. Tibbers coming down, but it's nRated that's really the one in trouble. Millenium might, though, have done enough to force him away from the turret. There is Kerp going in once again, going very, very deep onto things. Meanwhile, Freddy now right at the front of them all, trying to do the damage to get him low enough to pick up a kill. That's not going to happen. But Kevin, he's not finished. Finally, Creaton joining the fight. This is the world's longest fight here in mid lane. Finally, we get a bit of respite as they realize, okay, we're getting low now, should back away.
This is was such a messy fight. Svenskeren did the engage, nRated wasn't in range to even to actually follow up on it. So Jree could pretty much walk out, and then as soon as he felt a little bit danger, he just flashed. So no kill on Jree from the engage, and then everyone just comes in from the side, trying to make something work. Nothing really goes on. We had the Tibbers coming down though, but SK was too healthy and on the tower.
So Kerp just trying to get rid of that pink one, and I thought he was going to reactivate and come back in there just for that one final hit. I think nRated had the same in his head, that's why he waited over there by that one. Meanwhile, Kevin now pushing this top lane out, but Freddy is back in position early enough. And you know, Freddy, he's struggled a little bit in this lane, died that one time, he's fallen pretty heavily behind in CS as well.
Now, Freddy fell behind early due to the lane swap, and after that, once he had a wave coming to him, Kerp went up, dived in, killed him, which meant that he just fell even further behind. Right now, he's doing his best to get back in the game. I expect him, though, to get more and more CS and catch up with Kevin and actually start bullying Kevin out of the lane. But by that time, Millenium will probably transition into more teamfight based, or they want to put more focus on Kerp catching out targets. Now, the pink ward that SK had behind the Dragon, which has been very important so far, is now gone. The Dragon is going to be up in 1 minute. Millenium, both times, have actually warded that spot. It's going to be interesting, but Leona going in.
Oh, going in on towards Creaton. They threw everything in, but it's not enough to actually pick up a kill, and nRated gets hit by the True Shot Barrage. He's going to be taken out by Creaton, and well, you have to give the credit there to Creaton, dodging pretty much everything. Now Candy Panda in trouble as we see Kerp going straight in onto him, doing a decent job here of kiting his Candy Panda, but with Jree following up. Creaton there as well, no way to get out of it. 2 kills, duo lane down.
nRated and Candy Panda think they have more damage than they actually have. Creaton was in no danger of dying. He had his jump, he used it instantly, and there was nothing more to do for this fight. nRated would just die pretty much no matter what because Jree was there. SK right now is on the back foot. They're trying to make some desperate plays, and the one in bot lane didn't exactly help them.
I wonder if Jesiz is going to try and have a go down on this bottom side of the map. The fact that Kerp is at less than half HP, we see Svenskeren there moving through that minion line, but he knows that he's got to watch middle as well because Araneae had already pushed that one through, and right now Millenium squeezing on 2 fronts.
SK might actually be in time for this Dragon, but if they want to fight it or not, or just try and steal it with Svenskeren and then jump out of the Dragon Pit again, we will like to see.
Half health for Dragon. Svenskeren still waiting, and well, he comes over to the ward just a little bit too late there. Araneae confident as ever. He manages to smite that one down for a 3rd time in a row. Scoreline now in kills 7-1, and that gold lead creeping ever larger for Millenium.
Now, the issue for Millenium can be pushing on this 6. He's very farmed right now, Jesiz. He will be able to wave play a lot. You see actually Svenskeren going in on Kevin. Not much going to come from it though.
No, I don't think so from that one. Kevin lost about a 1/4 health and backed away. But Aranea's gone low. Kerp is coming back into this mid lane. By the way, now has a Void Staff added in towards that DFG.
Kerp right now has so much burst. No matter he decides to, or who he decides to burst, he's gonna go so low. Even Freddy, I think he wants to just instant burst down Freddy to destroy the front line of SK.
That was the culling actually used to try and force Millenium back, but forced back there, not really. Jree able, and that's the danger of this Annie. Just walks out of the base, swinging the teddy bear. Always scared you are of it dropping down on your head and causing you to be aced. Doesn't happen this time around, but they force the pressure off of that inner turret.
And now Jree didn't have flash this time, but he wants to do the engages. Araneae wants to do the engaged. If they decide to go in at the same time and land a good Tibbers and a good Vi ultimate, Kerp has all the room he needs to instant burst down a target. Once the target is down, it's going to be pretty hard for SK to actually come back, especially because now we have an Ezreal, which is so hard to kill. We can just kite, deal damage and damage and damage, and we know Creaton absolutely loves to do that in teamfights. He loves to kite it, and he loves to play Ezreal because he can do so many different plays on him.
Well, we saw that, didn't we, in the bit of a fight down in the bottom lane where he just dodged everything that nRated threw at him. Then was able to turn that back, and they ended up picking up both players in the bottom lane.
Now notice the fact that Creaton actually built a Blade of the Rune King as his 2nd item. Once again, this is for killing Shyvana and Leona to some extent. Millenium wants to just destroy the front line of SK whenever a fight starts.
Nice top lane. Pretty stagnant by this point, you know. Shyvana and Renekton with the Sunfire capes in there. Spirit Visage for one of them as well. Always going to become a little bit boring to watch in terms of they're just farming and having that tug of war of where the minion line stands. But this is where it might get interesting. Millenium start to push out there. Well, SK, they've actually already backed away. Over a ward, though, they need to be careful.
Yeah, Millenium is in the lead, but they don't really opt to go for any fights. Instead, they have Creaton bot lane right now pushing. They knew they could defend the tower without him, and he's going to pick up a tower.
And Freddy was a little bit asleep, I think, from that one. I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking, but he's trying to get away around the corner. Kerp picks that one up, and that's one less man to defend. Actually, the bottom tower did survive, and that's purely because those minions went.
I'm pretty sure Freddy was already looking at what items to build. He didn't actually see Araneae coming close to him, or Jree coming close, and ended up dying for it. Good use of 6 ultimate though. We talked about in Champ Select how you can clear the side lanes and you can stop pushes. Creaton could have picked up the tower though, but decided not to.
Yeah, and the fact that he did pick up that cowl just as he died there, Freddy, tells me that he probably was having a bit of a nosy at the shop already as he headed on back. But that kind of thing can happen. Maybe showing that he's taken his eye off the ball somewhat. Concentration is what SK are going to need if they're to get back into this game. They're close to, well, I say close to, they are 5,000 gold behind.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time right now though for Millenium to when they decide to fight. So far they've been a bit scared to go in for the fight, or actually just very comfortable in their late game, so they don't mind extending the game. Creaton obviously, once he finishes his last Whisper, is going to hit a very high power spike versus whoever comes close to him.
Kerp as well, who now has another blasting wand added in onto that DFG and Void Staff from earlier. You don't want to be the target that Kerp sets his sights on. And I think pretty much Shyvana is the one that'll probably be able to survive there at this point. I say probably because it's not just going to be Kerp. They're going to be following up with everything they've got.
No, it's going to be very hard for Freddy to go in. Even for Svenskeren to go in and try and make a play, if he gets locked down fast, he might instantly die. And right now, look at the items on Jree though. He has his talisman, which is the old Shurilia. He has mobility boots. He has so much speed. If he decides to start a fight and someone is caught out of position from SK, he's going to land a stun on them.
Yeah, it doesn't really need the flash, does he? And it's pretty much just nRated that can stop him from getting in there and getting everything on top of the team. One thing I guess they do have going for them in this scenario, though, is that wave clear once again of the Ziggs to stop them really getting close to having a hit on the turret.
6 right now is extending the game a lot. He can keep wave clear in the side lanes as long as he has his ultimate, and at the same time, whenever he's in the mid lane, he can just clear and clear and clear. SK do not really gain too much from it though, except for Creaton actually almost going down. Yeah,
taking a lot of damage. Svenskeren actually having a look there as he gets away from the minions, trying to get that Q back off to follow through, but that doesn't work out for him. And now Millenium, the ones that will be backing away from this one. That gold lead ever increasing as look at that. Freddy is supposed to be the tanky man in this team, and Kerp almost finishing him off.
Your tank almost died from one combo from Kerp. That signals what's going to happen when the rest of the team is there and you try to jump in the face. Millenium is going to wait for the next dragon to spawn and then wait. Oh, X engagement.
Yeah, they're going in on towards Jesiz. He has to flash away. Will they be able to lock him up? Good ultimate there coming out of nRated, but Kevin has already worked his way through. Jesiz going low. There is Tibbers to finish off the fight, and that is Ziggs out of things right now. And with that dragon coming up in 8 seconds time, that's surely a pick up for Millenium.
We talked about this before. Once you get caught out of position by Vi, there's not much you can do. The ultimate will follow you, even if you decide to flash instantly. Great pickup by Millenium. I was actually expecting him to wait for the dragon, but Araneae spotted 6, 2 overextended, and went for the kill.
20 seconds until he's back up here as well, which means no ultimate to clear out waves and stop any pushes on towards it. Sorry, Svenskeren going to get burst down. Araneae finishes that one off. Freddy's actually in the middle, and he's managed to pick up the kill on towards Jree. But meantime, Creaton is hammering away on the turret and will finish that one off. That's 2 turrets plus the kills coming down from Millenium. They're going to be able to back away, but will they feel safe enough to stay for Dragon?
I think they can go for this dragon. 6 is still in base, and they have the position for it. No, funny enough there, nRated actually engaged onto Jree, and Jree's Molten Shield, his E, made him get aggro from the tower, so he actually died to Freddy afterwards because he got so low from the tower.
Oh, not the ideal scenario. Credit to SK though, they actually pushed back up that mid lane there as they lost the turret to pick up their second of the game. Gives them a bit of gold back, but they are slowly but surely, we're really, really close to a 10,000 gold lead here for Millenium.
Yeah. Oh, Kerp going in.
Oh, Candy Panda, is he going to get away? The flash, just getting him out of range there of Kerp. But I don't think Kerp's given up just yet. Those cooldowns going to be coming up pretty quickly yet. Candy Panda going off to the side. Kerp decides not to chase in too deep to that vision, into the jungle without much vision.
Now the game keeps going longer and longer because of the wave clear Jesiz has on 6. SK is not actually getting any closer though to Millenium and gold, which is a bit of an issue. Millenium right now is just playing very careful, taking everything they can, slowly taking down the towers, not diving or anything. They don't want to take any chances and it's smart, but in the end, I feel like they can try and make a big more plays.
Oh, nRated, he's going to get tethered up from this one. Will they throw Tibbers in there? Nope, the stun coming through though in the end, and not used there, Jree. I think wise to lock down the support. It was, yeah, a kill's a kill, but not really the ideal target that you want to be throwing something like Tibbers at.
No, Leona is very tanky at this point, and obviously you want to try and hit more than just one person with your Tibbers. Generally, again, the Vi LeBlanc combo that Millenium has means they can go for the kills on SK when they are overextended. But right now, SK is just standing so safe at the tower, and they're just going to stay in clear.
Well, top lane is actually pushing through here, and that inner turret is still alive, and Kevin has obviously marked that one up here to be taken down. Actually, they're sieging a little bit at the front here as Araneae are going to go in. Svenskeren actually going very low from the start. He's actually finished off there. There is Candy Panda at the back, and actually they've managed to shut down Kerp. But can they get any more from it? nRated is actually going to fall. There is Kevin. Look at him. Full HP still here for Kevin. They get themselves another one. And are they going to go to try and finish off Freddy as well? They do. They flashes away, but Kevin is able to get in there to finish. And now the AD carry's going at it. Barrier comes out from Candy Panda. The Q from Creaton just shaving by. Either way, it's a 4 for 2. And that turret, I'm not sure it's going to last.
It's not going to last for too long, though. Candy Panda will come back and try and defend it. He should be at least hold the inhib turret. Kerp this fight, instant bursted down Svenskeren, but right after he actually died to Candy Panda, so it was a good trade for SK there. nRated decided to go back in the fight, though he was very low and he didn't really have anyone to follow him, so he pretty much just went into his own death.
Oh, you can see that one here again, and Svenskeren caught out before anything could happen.
Notice the damage though from the bank on Svenskeren. Here comes the engage though for nRated. Nobody really follows him, except for Freddy, but it's kind of half-assed attempt. And instead Kevin coming in the back line, goes on Jesiz, he's full HP, he can tank the turret, and they can simply dive this from here on. Great play by Millenium, and Kevin coming in, and he's been really strong this game.
Yeah, and pretty much meat shielding the entire Cologne as well, which, you know, to tanky Renekton like that, doesn't do all that much, and that Q may just have been enough to finish off on that one. But that means, of course, another turret for Millenium. 14 to 4 in kills, and there's that 10,000 gold lead.
And now Millenium can just go 5 people down if they choose to and get the inhib down mid. But they might again try and focus on trying to catch out a person from SK, maybe try and set up a Baron, and then wait for someone to SK to walk a little bit too close. Vi goes in, and Kerp follows with his insane burst at this point.
Well, he's just headed back to pick up his blue buff. That cooldown reduction, something that is only going to play in his favor. He's got that, almost got that Rabadon's death cap now added in. Obviously had that blasting one a little bit earlier on when I touched on that. Now has the needlessly large rod in as well. On the other side for Jesiz on 6, Rabadon's death cap, Athene's Unholy Grail, Void Staff for him as well. If we look towards the tanks, we can see that Kevin on Renekton, Spirit Visage, got the Randuin's Omen now with that Sunfire Cape, and now he's moving a bit more damage item with that Brutalizer.
Yeah, decided to go for the Brutalizer. I like this more than the normal mortars we saw earlier today from Wicked. It gives him a slight damage boost. It means that he can actually try and put a bit more pressure on Candy Panda and Jesiz, but necessarily killing them alone is not really going to happen for him.
Well, he's got more armor than we care to believe at this point. However, Jez is still able to do a decent amount of damage, as we are going to see the Cologne come through this one. There's a bomb. Jree going very, very low. Actually, Millenium going low in this one. But have they got the damage to go through it? They've done a lot, and they've managed to kill 2 men before they finally lose Renekton. Kevin tanking so much damage from that one. Candy Panda is going to try and chase through. Will he have enough to finish off Kerp? Yes, he will. Double kill Candy Panda. It's a 2 for 2 in the end.
Beautiful play by SK. They managed to win these team fights. Creaton is probably not going to go in for this one. Can Svenskeren guess? No, he won't. SK Gaming right now is actually starting to do a very small comeback. It was 2 for 2, but Candy Panda was chasing them. Everyone from Millenium had to run back. And overall, very nice team fight by SK Gaming.
Well, they're actually moving up towards that inner turret right now in the mid lane. However, Svenskeren's pretty low. Here comes Creaton, and it's enough to force them back. And there is a true shot barrage, picking up Creaton a kill. He's now dominating, 7-0-3. This is the Creaton that brought them to that very strong start at the start of the last split.
This is exactly the Creaton we wanted to see again. Amazing performance from him so far. He got his S-Rail, he loves to play it, and just look at him. Everyone else recalled for base, he stays. He's waiting for SK to do one small mistake. Svenskeren tanks a few tower hits when they're trying to take down the turret, and instantly Creaton is there, picks up a kill.
What a Millenium planning here. They've stacked 2 men up towards Baron. It's Jree that's actually trying to deal with wards at this point. And I just want to warn SK away from even thinking about Baron right now.
They tried to do the same engage they've been doing a few times before, where Araneae rings around the corner. Once he sees someone going out in the mid lane to try and take a few CS, he jumps in and picks up a kill. This is what the Millenium needs though, because for them right now, either they have to go for the inhib or they have to try and force a Baron and force a pick.
Another dragon there for Millenium, their 5th of the game. 12,000 gold now they lead by. 5-2 in turrets, 17-6 in kills. And it's funny when you run those numbers and you look at how close that last fight was.
Yeah, it actually shows how well SK was team fighting and how good that combo is in team fights. Shyvana is going to get harder and harder to kill for Millenium, even though they have a combo that can actually kill her fairly fast now. Later in the game, she's going to be harder and harder to kill, and you don't really want to use your LeBlanc burst on the tank.
No, we can see it. Millenium are trying to squeeze themselves in there once again. And the poke, Jesiz, is becoming a real problem for that. Inhibitor, of course, is a very juicy target as we see the Culling coming in from the side and catching pretty much on towards Araneae. There is Freddy going right down the middle. Actually, Araneae getting caught out from this one as True Shot Barrage does come across. The ultimate coming out of Ziggs wasn't all that effective, but they're not done with this one. Svenskeren goes in. Assault and Battery goes down onto him. It's Creaton that picks up that one. He is now godlike, and a lot of the SK members here very low. Will Creaton be able to finish this one off? Candy Panda low. There is the dive in from Kerp. He finally does get finished off. It's Jesiz that gets that kill. Well, they've surely done enough here to finish off this inhib. There's another bomb from Jesiz. Won't be enough to get them away from it. And finally that inhib goes down.
Now SK starts off by both Freddy missing his ultimate and then nRated afterwards with missing his ultimate, actually not hitting a single person with it. Yet the fight is only 2-for-1 in favor of Millenium. Svenskeren right here. SK actually had a pretty good start to the fight. Everyone was still alive. Millenium started backing off. Svenskeren decided to try and go in, and he went in too deep and simply got bursted down by the combo we talked about with both Creaton and Kerp using everything on him.
Anyways, another look at that fight, and look at Freddy's position.
Notice Freddy coming in here. Boom. Doesn't need anything. The Leona ultimate doesn't need anything. Now, going in now is Millenium. Araneae actually doesn't even use his ultimate. He saves it. He waits for someone from SK to overextend. Svenskeren thinks he can go in. Boom. Overextends. Araneae still has his ultimate. Locks down Svenskeren. Picks up the kill. And now the front line is down, and Millenium can start chasing in for more kills.
Which they did manage to do there. And watch Kerp here from the back, as he's the one that managed to finish things off. And, well, masses of damage across the entire pack. And actually it was an auto attack that killed him there. And we saw him follow him the whole way back. A little bit unlucky to die to those, but I think a thankful kill coming out in the end for SK Gaming. Right now, though, it's Millenium that have got positioning here on that Baron. When I say positioning, it's pretty much complete control.
There's actually a ward from SK though in the back of the Baron pit that Millenium doesn't seem to have cleared. So right now, SK don't really fear Millenium starting the Baron, but I actually don't think Millenium even wants to go for the Baron. They want to try and siege down the turret, and once again, they want to have a fight. They want SK to make overextend a little bit and then burst down a target.
Well, I think Kerp's position might be a little bit obvious here if he waits off to the side. It's definitely obvious when you stood on top of a ward, that's for sure. And he'll know that now as he gets blasted by Candy Panda. We did see True Shot Barrage thrown down to the bottom lane. That's obviously for Creaton to try and get that wave pushing back in and cause a little bit of pressure on that bottom lane to release some here maybe on the top lane. It's always going to be hard when Ziggs is there, stood behind the tower. Got a full build pretty much at this point. Those waves don't last long.
No, Millenium won't really be able to hit the tower here unless they're going for the dive. Because Ziggs will just wave clear, wave clear, wave clear, and even Lucian actually provides some pretty good wave clear himself with his piercing light.
Well, and not to mention, we saw it there, the Cologne as well, which decimates the minions.
Now, the mid lane is pushing in though, because inhib is down, forcing SK to either use the Ziggs ultimate to clear the wave or send someone back to defend. But the distance from mid lane over to top now is not too far, which means that SK can do that and still get back in case there is a fight.
Well, what is the plan for it? Those minions are now in the base and are headed on towards the Nexus turrets. We can see there the recall coming out, and SK have made the decision. They're going to give it up. That's textbook play there from Millenium.
They were very patient.
Oh wow, he took a Nexus turret.
Big misplay from SK here. They let a tower go, and also they pretty much sacrificed their own tower. They could have kept some people there, trying to at least slow down the wave a little bit. But this also signals from Millenium now, even though there's ward in the back, so SK knows that they're doing it. But this signals Baron time for them.
Oh, Svenskeren, you're dead. and that would be the DFG in a full combo coming out. Finally, we see the ultimate from Ziggs checking out Baron. Not going to be enough damage to get it lower steal, and that is a pickup by Millenium, and they all hit the recall button and go back home.
We talked about this earlier. Millenium wanted to bait someone to face check when they were around the Baron pit. They could have done it earlier though. Millenium has been playing very safe, not taking any chances, but right here we saw how deadly the combo is when you have a LeBlanc this fit, and if you actually try to do the Baron and someone tries to come in to steal. Yeah,
you just nuke him down. Exactly what Kerp's just done there, and see the blue buff suffering the same fate, sadly for it.
Svenskeren actually responds by picking up a Banshee's Veil, meaning now LeBlanc won't be able to instant one-shot him at least.
No. 2 it's going to take now, possibly. Depending on what he actually blocks out there from Kerp, that'll be interesting to see. And we do see that the Zhonya's Hourglass is also finished for Jesiz. That's going to give him a bit more staying power when it comes to these fights. But honestly, they're so far ahead. 16,000 gold, 20-7 in kills. They're so ridiculously far ahead. There's the Banshee's Veil gone, by the way, so he's now burstable again.
Now Svenskeren is scared of the burst. But one thing we have to touch on with Millenium, they've done a great job of making sure Freddy couldn't really go to a lane and farm, constantly trying to keep the pressure going.
Yeah, we just saw a bit of a cheeky peek over Araneae going in on towards Freddy. He's not really the target that they want, but there's the flash. Nope, Tibbers. It didn't really work out for him, and you're allowed to miss one, I guess, in the game. Sadly, it was possibly at a time where they could finish it, but Araneae, he's going to flash in. They go straight over towards Candy Panda. He's the only one doing that right now. They're managing to actually put good damage back on towards Araneae. He may even fall from this one. He gets over the wall. The Cologne will finish him off from the side. Millenium, though, still have 4 men alive. It's a 4 versus 3, and he's still at the back there. Jree is going to be coming back up with a stun in a minute, but with Candy Panda and Jesiz both at high health, this could still go bad for Millenium, and look, they're backing off.
Not the kind of fight Millenium needed right now. First, Jree flashes in, misses the Tibbers, and then followed up by the ultimate from Ezreal. Later on, we see Vi actually engaging in. Candy Panda dashes into his own tower, and Vi is completely separated from her own team.
But look at Kerp. He's off to the side, and none of them want anything to do with that. ZFG is currently on cooldown, so he's not going to have that to throw their way. But we see that the minions are going to be forced straight back. That inhibitor down now, of course, again. I'm streaming in, and Candy Panda, half HP, gone. And he's going to be forced to use the Cologne, get rid of the minions at max range. And it looks like Millenium might actually just back away from it. They've all got over 1,000 gold to spend again.
No, the last team fight actually showed how far Millenium was ahead. Nothing really worked for them. The engage was wrong, and they missed a lot of abilities, yet they still came out on top, and they managed to take the inhib down, and also almost killing Candy Panda later on from Kerp.
Well, Kerp's waiting here again. I was going to say who's going to push that far up in this scenario, but Candy Panda is proving me wrong. What is Kerp going to go for him? Got pure vision because of those minions pushing in, but with the threat of nRated, it looks like he decides against that one. And well, another dragon, why not? At this stage of the game, worth its max cash. Actually, not quite, because we've still got a couple of very low level. I mean, I say very low level. nRated only level 13 at this point.
Yeah, so Millenium this game have had control pretty much through the entire game, but they've been a bit too passive, and the team fights have been kind of shaky for them. They tried some engages, they didn't really work for them. In the end, they have relied on Kerp playing absolutely amazing and Creaton playing amazing.
Bottom turret is the target this time around. It's Kevin at the front of things. He's got a Thorn Mail now added in there, as if he wasn't tanky enough. He has got a boatload of armor.
We're back to the same scenario.
Yeah.
The Millenium is just waiting for the mid lane to push in once again and just stay and keep SK Gaming at the mid tower. Kerp will keep trying to jump in and burst down the target, jump back out. So for now, until the minion wave is actually going to be pushed down in the mid lane, not much is going to happen.
So their True Shot Barrage actually thrown to the top lane to try and get that one pushing as well. And that's the annoyance of Ezreal as well, the fact that he can start with the lanes pushing without being anywhere close to it on the map. It looks like Millenium here have gone back off into the jungle. Are they going to try and set up somewhat of a trap? Kerp here waiting to the side. Araneae, Vault Breaker across the steps rather than going aggressive. That turret's still up there, so always going to be a threat as they go towards Freddy. Half of his health instantly gone.
Now, this is actually pretty good for SK. Ooh, almost picking up Creaton. But this is good for SK. The longer they can extend the game now, the higher chance they actually have to win it. Because once you start hitting like the 50-55 minute mark, goals start meaning less and less, because more and more people will finish up the items. If SK can actually stall this game for another 10-15 minutes, you might see a CLG EU versus N5 comeback.
Well, that game almost killed me and Demon, so we'll see about that one. They almost lost that second Nexus turret there, actually. They came back in a bit of a rush, realizing how low it was going, how quickly. With Super Minion streaming down that mid lane. And we've got 1.5 minutes for Baron. To be honest, the safe way here for Millenium is to wait that 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, and I expect them to actually wait it out. They're probably going to ward around the Baron pit and wait for, or not the Baron pit, but just Baron in general, and then have Kerp standing ready if someone should go in there to check. If SK wants to try and get a few wards out, Kerp will be there and he will instant burst down a target.
Well, they're trying to push out somewhat, but those Super Minions causing them the problem. And Millenium have got 3 men currently sat in the SK jungle. We've got 1 minute until the Baron comes up. Ezreal and Renekton headed in from the backside as well. Picking up the extra little bit of farm here. Not that it, as you said, really is going to be mattering anymore in this one. Kerp, Creaton, who's sat at 806, is pretty much fully built now.
He is fully built, almost completely. He's going to sell his boots at some point and pick up a Zephyr. But right now, Jesiz is actually almost always also full build. He's stitching out a lot of damage and he's doing a very good job wave clearing.
Well, it's probably the Baron that they're going to need to have a steal of here, SK. And maybe another 2 after that. That's how far behind they are at this point. Or have a good team fight. We're at 46 minutes into this game, we shouldn't forget. Yeah,
the death timers are so long right now that if SK manages to win a team fight, they can push it back into Millenium space and pick up a few towers and maybe even an inhibitor.
Well, that's a long way off. I'd be very impressed if we were able to see that coming out of SK Gaming, but let's not count it out just yet. We've got 5 seconds though until the Baron comes up, and Millenium have already backed off. They've got full vision control of the enemy jungle, and they're going to take the Baron here.
And SK don't even care about Millenium taking this Baron. They know if they move too close, Svenskeren did it before, Kerp is waiting in the wings, and he will burst you down. So they're just going to let Millenium get this Baron for free and just keep stalling for as long as they can. The big question is now, do they give up the inhib mid lane, which is not protected by a tower, or do they actually try and take a fight?
Well, the thing is, if you give up that inhib, it's not like they've got much behind that either. Only 1 Nexus turret left really to fight for. And that Baron now on for Millenium. The gold, sad to say it, approaching a 20,000 lead for Millenium. We can look at this a different way as well. Millenium not being able to close out the game at this point, that could come back to haunt them. Maybe not in this game, but further down the line.
Yeah, it's a bit about what I was talking about before. Millenium has looked dominant, they look strong, but at the same time, they have such a huge goal lead and they haven't been able to finish the game. That doesn't exactly signal too many good things going in later, but they're running a pick comp. It's pretty hard to team fight with a pick comp unless you have like a direct target to burst. Right now, the front line of SK is not exactly dying straight up from the first burst.
No, more waves coming in, more waves pushed straight back from Ziggs and Lucian. His bottom lane is maybe the natural target here. As you said, though, that inhibitor had respawned a little bit earlier on.
I feel like we have seen this scenario before.
About 300 times.
Millenium is waiting outside. They're waiting for the right opportunity to go in. They don't really want to go in and poke too much on inhib itself because they're afraid to engage. And then Kerp jumping in, nothing happening. Just checking.
Just checking. See how much damage he can do to nRated at this point. And there we see him going on to Candy Panda. A little bit more damage coming out this time around. Millenium going to try and squeeze their way in for the inhibitor. Culling coming out there. Kevin trying to bully them at the front and let the damage coming onto the inhib. And they've done it. They've managed that job. I'm guessing that the bottom lane is now going to be the next target from this one. The wave is actually pushed quite far up the lane, so they're going to have to go jogging all the way back up there or wait for their own wave to start pushing through.
Now, the bot lane tower is still on full HP, but what they need is for Kerp to do the exact same thing he just did now. He needs to find a squishy target, burst him down so the guy has to go back to base to heal, and then they can go in and push on the tower. They do not want to go in 5v5 and hit the tower, and at the same time, they don't really feel confident enough to dive.
Well, the good thing is it might be 5v4 soon on this bottom tower, because as those super minions come down, we saw the damage they did before. Someone's going to have to defend that single Nexus turret that's left standing here for SK Gaming. We're about to hit the 50-minute mark in this match as well.
I like the position by Kerp now. He's behind the enemy lines, and he's going to be a lot harder for him to deal with rather than him just jumping the wall. Oh, he's like, no. I really want him to go in and start a fight.
Well, he forces Candy Panda away from it, and that's what he's aiming for. The turret going very low, and actually, no, not quite finished off. They hold it for now, but I think it's one auto attack here from Creaton. There we go. Svenskeren, he's going to surely go down. No, safeguards off on towards Jesiz. Can they finish off? True shot barrage comes through. That's not enough damage, but look at Millenium. They've lost Annie already, but that's surely not going to be enough from them. Freddy picked off there at the back. They're healing from the base as they get another one. Kerp here gets his clone pot, and SK have actually got 2 for 1 at this point. They've held them off, for now at least.
SK actually won the fight 2 for 1, mainly due to the fact that they could heal in base. They kept the inhibitor alive for now. Will Millenium be able to pick it up? Yes, they took it down.
Inhibitor goes down. You see Kerp goes back. Actually, Kevin taking a lot of damage here on that front line. Svenskeren going into him, and here comes Kerp once again. That'll be a double for him. They may try and finish off right now. Svenskeren does get tethered up, but he's already on the fountain. Still alive from this one. The Nexus turret, though, is at less than half, and look at that. Shredded down pretty much instantly. Svenskeren comes back out again, and we see Millenium focusing on the Nexus. Kevin going low. Kerp is very, very low as well, but they finish off there. The ace coming in, and that will be Creaton's 10th kill of the game, and Millenium's first win of the season.
And we have to agree, even though it's a long game, and SK Gaming had some good team fights, they were never actually close at directly winning the team fights. The carries from Millenium, they kept themselves alive, they were kiting, and they were just waiting for the moment for SK once again to overstep and then instantly kill them.
A very controlled game, I think, from Millenium. And
too controlled.
Too controlled. You know, you can't do that every single time. Maybe it's only 1 out of 5, maybe it's a little bit less, a little bit more, but sometimes you're going to lose a team fight 50 minutes in when you think you've got full control of the game and you're basically not.
That's the thing. I mean, we saw Millenium in one of the team fights where they missed pretty much all their engages. It almost went in favor of SK. Had that happened, very late game where, let's say, 55 minutes, more items on the SK side, really, not really more items on the Millenium side because they're already maxed out. SK could actually maybe have turned the game around. But all in all, we have to look at the fact that Millenium, even if they lost some of their front line, they still had Kerp and Creaton alive in most of the team fights, ready to pretty much clean whatever came in their face.
Well, Creaton, again, just to look at his scoreline, 10-0-7, approaching 500 minion kills in there as well. And with that Ezreal that everyone thought, I was wondering, is he going to be picked here? Is Creaton going to go to that one? Aren't we going to see the Jinx, the Lucian coming out for him? But no, sticking with what he knows, and you can see his comfort on it. We saw it when they got those 2 kills in the bottom lane, and nRated threw everything that he had at him, and he just dodged everything.
Creaton knows everything about Ezreal. He knows how much damage he can take, how much damage he can do at any stage of the game. So he was pretty much waiting for nRated actually to go in on him there. He knew he had Jree also as the backup, and there was not really any case of him dying if they should have gone in and even stunned him there. So smart play by Creaton all around. He knows exactly how to teamfight on this, and Millenium knows how to teamfight with Ezreal. And
I also want to give a bit of a shout out really to Kevin, a man who, in that SK team, aside from really maybe one game, he was, solid. Solid play in the top lane. Pretty much always that we've seen Kevin. This one again, 400 minions, 4-1-12, complete tank. Finished himself a Black Cleaver there for a bit of damage at the end, but didn't really miss a beat.
Not at all, and that's Kevin. I mean, he will always get the job done. That's how he is. This game, even though he were Rengar versus Shyvana, he managed to always keep the pressure on Shyvana, and he managed to actually set up some good dives or dive opportunities for Millenium. One of them they took advantage of, they got the kill they needed, and they kept keeping Freddy behind, and they just didn't stop.
Well.